Hey friends, welcome back to TJKidz Super Fun Stories, where imagination becomes reality. Let's see, today's story is The Cuckoo Chaos of Emerson Jane. What could that be about? Is Emerson Jane cuckoo? Nah. Today's adventure is all about a girl who loves clocks more than anything. Until one very special clock starts causing more chaos than she ever imagined. So grab a comfy spot, get cozy, and join me for this adventure. The Cuckoo Chaos of Emerson Jane. Emerson Jane had always loved clocks. Not just a little, not just, oh, that's neat. She loved clocks the way some kids loved ice cream, or unicorns, or giant bounce houses. She loved the ticking, the gears, and the steady rhythm that made her feel like the whole world was marching in perfect time. Her room was filled with clocks, a tiny silver travel clock on her dresser, a bright yellow alarm clock shaped like a smiling sun, a wooden one she built from a kit with her dad. She even had a digital one that projected the time on her ceiling. But none of them compared to the moment she saw Grandma June's cuckoo clock. It hung on the wall above Grandma's kitchen table. Every hour, the little wooden door popped open, and a cheerful cuckoo bird popped out, calling its famous cuckoo, cuckoo, before disappearing again. The first time Emerson saw it, she fell in love immediately. She watched in awe as her heart pumped with excitement. "Grandma," she said, "that is the most amazing thing I've ever seen." Grandma laughed. "Oh, it's been in the family for years. I've always loved it too." From that moment on, Emerson had only one dream: to have a cuckoo clock of her very own. She talked about it nonstop. She drew pictures of cuckoo clocks in her notebooks. She had her dad play videos of cuckoo clocks on his phone. She even started a Santa list in July, just in case. So when her birthday finally arrived, and her parents walked in with a narrow box, wrapped in some blue paper, shaped like a miniature house, Emerson knew. She didn't even need to open it. She could feel it in her bones. She didn't hesitate. She ripped open the wrapping as fast as she could. And there it was, the moment she had been waiting for. Her very own cuckoo clock. Dark wood, a beautifully crafted little house, 2 pine cone weights dangling from chains, and a tiny door hiding a mystery. The little cuckoo bird she couldn't wait to see. Would it be blue, brown, bright yellow? The door held the secret. It was perfect. Her dad helped her hang it on the wall in her bedroom. Emerson stood beneath it, beaming with excitement. "It's beautiful," she said. "I'm going to take such good care of it." Her dad switched on the special setting that kept the cuckoo quiet after bedtime. It would chirp every hour during the day, then stop at 8 p.m. And for the first few days, everything was wonderful. The clock ticked softly. The cuckoo popped out right on time. Emerson watched it every hour, smiling as she watched the bright yellow bird pop out to announce the time. But then, things changed. It started small. One night, the cuckoo popped out at 8:25 instead of 8 o'clock. Emerson shrugged it off. Maybe I bumped the dial. The next day, it cuckooed only 2 times at noon. It should have been 12 cuckoos at noon. Then it cuckooed 3 times at 1 o'clock. Then once at 2 o'clock. But the bird stayed out an extra second, as if it were thinking about something. Her parents noticed too. Is it supposed to do that? Her mom asked. I don't think so, Emerson said. That night, at exactly 12 o'clock a.m., the cuckoo blasted out of its door with the enthusiasm of a marching band. Cuckoo! 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 The whole house woke up. Dad shouted from down the hall. Why is it doing that at midnight? It's only supposed to go off during the day. I thought these things were supposed to be charming, Mom said, holding her ears. Emerson felt a tiny pinch of worry. I'll fix it, she said. Probably just needs an adjustment. The next morning, she got to work. She adjusted the weights. She pulled the chains. She turned the tiny dial and made sure it was set to be off during the nighttime hours. She read the instruction booklet again. She even watched a How to Fix a Cuckoo Clock video online. And amazingly, it worked. The clock behaved perfectly for the rest of the day. It cuckooed at the right times. It ticked in a steady rhythm. The whole family breathed a sigh of relief. That night, they all went to bed feeling hopeful. Then, at 4 o'clock in the morning, cuckoo, 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 everyone jolted awake. Dad sat up in bed. No, absolutely not. Mom pulled a pillow over her head. Make it stop. The dog began barking repeatedly. Emerson stared at the ceiling, horrified. And from that moment on, the clock went completely rogue. It cuckooed at 5:12, then again at 5:35, then at 6:17, then at 6:19. It cuckooed during breakfast, during dinner, during a video call with Grandma June, who said, "Oh my, that one sounds enthusiastic." It cuckooed when the fridge opened. It cuckooed when the lights turned on. It cuckooed when someone walked by too quickly. It cuckooed so much that the family started wearing earplugs around the house. One night, after hours of nonstop cuckooing, Mom and Dad had had enough. That's it, Dad shouted. I'm sleeping downstairs from now on. Who's coming with me? They all dragged blankets downstairs and fell asleep on the couches, grateful for the quiet. For a while, everything was calm. Then, at 3 o'clock a.m., cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. But it didn't stop after 3 cuckoos. It just kept on going nonstop. Emerson had reached her breaking point. She marched upstairs into her room, grabbed the nearest object, a metal pot from her pretend cooking set, and she swung. Crash! The cuckoo clock shattered into pieces. Silence. Real, beautiful silence. She headed back downstairs to the couches with the rest of the family. Dad whispered, I can't believe it. It's finally over. Mom said, I feel like I can hear my own thoughts again. For 30 peaceful minutes, everything was calm. Then, from the pile of broken pieces on the floor, attached only to its little spring, cuckoo! The family sat straight up. What? Emerson shouted. How is that even possible? I smashed it to pieces. The tiny wooden bird, still connected to its spring, began inching forward across the floor like a wind-up toy. It wiggled its way toward the hallway. Then it reached the intercom system on the wall, and through the entire house, amplified like a stadium speaker. Cuckoo! 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 Dad covered his ears. This is a nightmare. Mom grabbed headphones. Everyone put these on. The dog hid under a blanket. The neighbors turned on their porch lights. Emerson ran upstairs to find the wooden bird in the hallway. She stared at the little cuckoo bird, feeling a mix of guilt and disbelief. This was all her fault. The next morning, Dad stood in the kitchen with dark circles under his eyes and a mug of coffee. He looked afraid to take a sip in case the cuckoo bird reacted to it. That's it, he said. We're taking that thing to the dump. Emerson's heart dropped. No, we can't. Dad pointed toward upstairs. You smashed it to pieces. I thought that's what you wanted. I didn't mean to, Emerson said. I was frustrated. I wasn't thinking. I love that clock. I just want it to work the way it's supposed to. Honey, Mom said, it kept us up all night. Again. I know, Emerson replied. But maybe someone can fix it. A real clock expert or something. Please, Dad, just one more chance. Dad sighed, the sigh of a man who had been cuckooed into submission. Fine, but if this thing makes one more sound, cuckoo! Dad closed his eyes. Get in the car. Emerson ran upstairs with a bag to gather up the broken pieces of the cuckoo clock and hopped into the car. They drove across town, following the map to a place Emerson found online. The directions led them to a tiny shop next to a bike repair place. A wooden sign hung above the door. The Tick-Tock Workshop. Cuckoo clocks, repairs, restorations. Inside, the shop was a wonderland of clocks. Big clocks, tiny clocks, clocks shaped like houses, clocks shaped like trees, clocks with birds, squirrels, and even some owls. Every few seconds, a different cuckoo popped out somewhere in the room. Cuckoo! 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 Dad whispered. This place is my nightmare. Emerson whispered back. This place is my dream. A man with wild gray hair and a vest covered in tiny gears popped out from behind a curtain. Welcome, he said. I'm Mr. Wendell. What brings you to my humble workshop of wonders? Dad held up a bag of broken pieces. This, Mr. Wendell gasped. Oh my goodness. Is that a vintage Switzerland 1899 model? Emerson nodded. It was my birthday present. Mr. Wendell rubbed his hands together. Built to last through storms, floods, and the occasional frustrated homeowner with a baseball bat. Let's see what we've got. He dumped the pieces onto his workbench and examined them with a magnifying glass. Ah, yes, he said. Classic case of over-cuckoo syndrome. Very rare, quite dramatic, but fixable. Dad looked perplexed. Fixable? That thing was smashed to pieces. Not that it ever worked in the first place. Mr. Wendell winked. "These old clocks are tougher than they look." He worked quickly, tightening screws, adjusting gears, polishing the wooden bird, and reattaching the spring. The cuckoo clock slowly came back together, piece by piece, until it looked almost brand new. "There," he said proudly, "good as new." Emerson lit up with joy. "Thank you." "But," Mr. Wendell added, "a cuckoo clock must be set properly. Too many cuckoos in one day, and it becomes unpredictable." Dad muttered under his breath. "We noticed." Mr. Wendell adjusted the tiny dial. "This model is meant to cuckoo only twice a day, once at noon, once at bedtime, 8 o'clock. Anything more is madness." He handed the clock to Emerson. "Treat it kindly, and it will treat you kindly." They drove home with the clock resting safely in Emerson's lap. Dad hung it back on her wall, and for the first time in days, the house felt peaceful. At noon, the cuckoo popped out and cuckooed 12 times, just as it was supposed to. At bedtime, it popped out once and cuckooed 8 times for 8 o'clock. And that was it. No midnight surprises, no 4 a.m. chaos, no intercom invasions. The whole family slept through the night for the first time in a week. The next evening, Emerson climbed into bed, feeling calm and happy. She looked at her restored cuckoo clock and smiled. All was well as Emerson went off to sleep. Peacefully, the cuckoo clock finally restored. "Cuckoo!" She popped up. "Seriously?" The little bird popped out, gave one cheerful little cuckoo, and slipped back inside. Emerson laughed. "Okay, you can have that one." And with that, she drifted off to sleep, the soft ticking of her beloved clock filling the room with a steady, gentle rhythm. The end. And that is the end of our story for today, friends. Woo! What a wild ride! I'm so glad that Emerson found a way to fix her clock and bring a little peace back to her home. It just goes to show you that even the things we love the most can get a little out of hand if we're not careful. And that reminds me of a moral I learned from today's story. Sometimes things don't work the way we expect, and that can be frustrating. But with a little help, a little kindness, and maybe a good clock expert, things can be put back together again. It's okay when things go wrong. What matters is how we handle it, and how we choose to make things right. What did you learn? Well, that's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one. Toodles!